So originally I had this cute, cringy train gimmick idea to go throughout the video, but the toddler train outfit I ordered isn't really fitting me, so we're just gonna have to make do without it. Also, special thanks to the mysterious unknown gifter who gave me Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Didn't have a name with it, I think I know who it is though. Thank you. And without further ado, let's get into this review. All aboard the Pelvic Express. What's up, guys? It's your favorite conductor, Lady Pelvic of Pelvic Gaming, and today we are traveling to the world of The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, a DS game released December 7th, 2009. This is the only Zelda game that matters.
How about a kiss?
That I haven't played yet, until now. Now, I had my doubts about this title, especially after playing Spirit Tracks' horrendous predecessor, Phantom Hourglass, and let me just say, my doubts weren't misplaced. First up, the story. Okay, so Zelda's stories have never been incredibly extraordinary. We get the usual unchanging tale of expel darkness, usually Ganon, and save Princess Zelda. If anything, the lore is the strong point of most Zelda titles, how things came to be, and this one is actually among my favorites. A story about the first settlers of the land. People followed the spirits of good, all was peaceful, but then the evil demon king rose to power and destroyed everything. The spirits of good faced him in battle and couldn't destroy him, but sealed him away. They built shackles to imprison him, and a giant tower to serve as a lock. I love it. I thought using the train tracks as binds was really clever, and I appreciated how that spills into the gameplay. But before we get into that, Link has an audience with the princess to gain his engineer certificate. Of course, the princess senses something evil's afoot, and wants to be taken to the Tower of Spirits. Well, naturally, things go amok and the Chancellor reveals his true colors and wishes to revive the Demon King using Zelda's body. Link, now on the tracks of fate, hurries to restore the fading spirit tracks and retrieve Zelda's body. A cool thing this time around is Zelda, in spirit, is with you every step of the way. And likewise, I think I'm gonna need a buddy, a passenger, if you will, to join me along this wild train ride.
Hello. Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me. Let's talk some Spirit Tracks. Unsurprisingly, Zelda is kind, as you first see when she talks with Link and the Chancellor, but it's not too long before you realize that she's also hilarious. The cutscene where she learns that the Demon King is using her body is by far one of the funniest Zelda moments ever. And the funny moments aren't just limited to the cutscenes. The image of her in that giant phantom armor shaking in fear because of rats is burned into my brain. I love it. Zelda's whole character arc is good, actually. She goes from being afraid of everything to being kind of a badass by the end, all building up to the emotional hand-holding scene at the end. It gets ya every time. It's super cool to have Zelda not only be your partner, but to have her actively help you out as you move through the game. Other than a couple dungeons in Wind Waker, I can't really think of another time where this happens. To be honest, Zelda is my favorite part of this game, and she's probably what I think of first when I think of Spirit Tracks. Okay, well, second, I guess, behind the whole train thing.
The next stop is where a lot of people tend to fall off, and I don't blame them. Pelvic Express, now departing to gameplay. You do not move by traditional means. All of it is touch controls. Waving your stylus across the bottom screen, walking, rolling, slashes, spin attack, using items, all of it is touch controls. You could say this is a real drag. Get it? Because you're dragging your stylus across the screen.
Don't get me wrong, I love using the touchscreen for some things, like menus, minigames. I even like using it for items like the bow, but actually controlling Link and using the sword with the touchscreen, it's just awful, and I hate doing it. Even as someone who doesn't always hate gimmicky control schemes, I mean, I like the motion controls in Skyward Sword, for example, I really hate the touchscreen controls in the 2DS games. You are never gonna convince me that controlling Link like this was a good idea. Look at me, Mom! I'm playing a video game! Look at me, Mom, I'm breaking my 3DS. I would still prefer to just use the DS to control Link, but even if they had let you use the D-pad to run around and then use the stylus to swing the sword, I think that would have been a lot better than just sliding around and like, no one wants to do that!
And it wouldn't be a gimmicky 3DS game if it didn't make you use the microphone. At the start, you'll be doing a lot of blowing. blow to use this item, blow to use the pan flute, which made segments that should have been easy, tedious and annoying.
Okay, well, I did actually like the pan flute thing. I will die on that hill.
But touchscreen mechanics are not Spirit Track's only crime. One of Zelda's greatest strengths is exploration, burning a bush to find a stairway, falling through hidden pitfalls, using your growing arsenal to traverse the land in new ways. All of that was stripped from the overworld. The only way to travel is by train, using the recovered Spirit Tracks. Your first stop is the Tower of Spirits, where you'll gather Tears of Light to power up your sword to take on the Phantoms, guardians of the tower. Collect all 3 tears, slash the phantom from behind, and Zelda can possess it. Control Zelda by drawing her path, and switch between the two to get things done. While a cute mechanic, it's bogged down by an inconsiderate Zelda. Or general dumb AI movements. Each floor of the tower introduces new puzzles and new phantoms, refreshing the journey every visit. At the very end, you and Zelda snag an incomplete rail map and are off to a sanctuary to find a locomoto, in which you'll poorly attempt to play a duet which will complete the tracks to the temple. Now, I gotta give Spirit Tracks credit where credit is due, and the dungeons are actually pretty solid. Link's gear is cleverly used, satisfying, and the puzzles were on point. Some even got me to pull out a guide cause I was stumped. Unless you have a superior memory, I do like that it encouraged you to mark your map. Pretty much the only gimmick I liked. I think the Spirit Tower is certainly more difficult in regards to puzzle solving, but the temples aren't anything to snuff at either. The temples were more fun, while the tower leaned toward challenge and creativity.
There's a lot of great and memorable bosses, too. I really like how a lot of them utilize the top screen to tower over Link during the introduction. It adds a lot of scale and makes them just more intimidating overall. While his physical design and features are a little lacking, I always enjoyed fighting Kragma. Using the bow and arrow while riding the cart around was fun. It's kind of similar to the latter portion of the Star-Lord fight from Twilight Princess. And I've always thought Skeldritch was really cool, too. Though I'm not sure what the heck is up with his whole... all of him.
Now, back on track. Literally, you draw where you want to go, avoiding obstacles and enemies, maybe capture a rabbit to give the creepy BDSM furry rabbit man? You can also find stamp stations, turn in treasure for better train parts, and there was a multiplayer aspect that is dead now. As you travel, you'll be utilizing your gearbox that allows you to go fast, slow, stop, reverse, blow the whistle, and to switch to decide which track you go on. Even on the fastest setting, you move pretty slowly through the dull and rather basic land layout. Exploration is so boring and so linear, traveling back and forth to the same old 4 lands. Putting a select few warp points was a good start, but they just warped you to different parts of the map. No specific landmark, so you'd always be doing some chugga chugging. Even as you approached your destination, you had to stop just right in order to be granted entry. Too far or not close enough had you backing up or pushing forward just for a half a second. Going to places was tedious, entering places was a chore, and delivering items and transporting passengers was laborious. I'm gonna be honest, I think the DS Zelda games are ugly. Plain and simple, going straight to the point here. Their hands are ugly nubs, it looks like they tried hard. Their faces remind me of that particular anime look when a character is close up to a fisheye lens or they're about to go insane. This whole game looked like a botched Wind Waker. And even the environment, holy crap, was boring as hell. You could only make the same goddamn path look so interesting. Whether you went up, down, left, right, there was grass, snow, as far as the eye could see, traveling failed to keep my attention. I would just draw on the tracks and do something else until I was attacked. Which brings me to the music, which is actually good. If it's one thing that made traveling bearable, it was the music.
The overworld theme is so good, especially in-game with the train sound effects playing. I know it gets old towards the end of the game, but riding in the train and listening to the song is just such a pleasure, and the train whistle. I just love the train whistle!
I love the fact when enemies draw near, the music changed on the tracks, which quickly brought my attention back to the game. There is a variety of overworld music, however, the dungeon themes are lacking. Also, the Tower of Spirits does this super cool thing with the music. As you climb each floor, an extra musical element is added. Think Tartarus from Persona 3. Also, while I cannot stand the pan flute segments, the pan flute duets are among some of the best Zelda songs. It's a shame that these tunes will be lost and forgotten for being such a subpar game. But to my favorite soundtrack is probably the sub-boss battle music. It sounds kind of goofy and sinister all at the same time. The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks is a train wreck and crashes at a 5.5 out of 10, maybe 6 if I'm lenient. They took some of my favorite parts of Zelda, exploration, and made it so one track. Plus, it felt like the touchscreens were frequently working against you. And I hate to say it, as much as I love traveling with Zelda, the AI was awful. Side quests were more of a bad thing, going back and forth. The only thing I really enjoyed outside of the music were the dungeon puzzles. They were very slick and sharp. I actually had a lot of fun despite fighting against touch controls. The lore of this world plus journeying with Zelda was very fun. The whole tone was very lighthearted. The dialogue and characters was all fun. Also, I really did enjoy the final boss of this game, not gonna lie. As always, I like to wrap things up with a question to you guys. How did you like Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass, the DS Zelda games? Are you a fan or are you not? I couldn't stand them, but you know, everybody's different. Some people like to be wrong.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that too. It does have some strong points. I think I like the train riding more than the boat riding in Phantom Hourglass. And again, Zelda is really, really good in this version. She might be my favorite ever, but I don't particularly enjoy playing Spirit Tracks, at least not when compared to other Zelda games. But yeah, it is an improvement on Phantom Hourglass. For whatever that's worth.
Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks for fellow Zelda lover, Peanut Butter Gamer, for coming on board this train ride.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a lot of fun to talk about one of these DS games because I've never really done it before. If you want to see a video that I did, you can check out my Twilight Princess video from the last Zelda month.
Guys, I'm still shooketh I collabed with the Peanut Butter Gamer. He was like a YouTube inspiration for me. Anyways, be sure to check out my Patreon, join my Discord, and partake in our Animal Crossing parties. Love your faces, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah!